Hello, this is Ken, your podcast preacher, and I want to welcome you back to Deep Waters. This podcast is brought to you by Applied Strengths Ministry, where we believe working together in our strengths is the effect of working out the will and calling of God in our lives. The title of this message is Seek and Sex, No Hiding Necessary. This is a multi-episode series in which this is episode 1 of 2. This is my fourth message on a topic that is near and dear to my heart because of the wonderful, unimaginable, exciting experiences it affords when intentionally managed and addressed as a battle. I actually will have it finished before my third message on the same subject, but so be it. I say again with a twist, and that is that this subject is so near and dear to my heart because of its destructive force when it is used by the devil to bring people into an oppressively constricting and totally darkening bondage that is difficult to break and escape from. If I could use deeper, darker experlatives, which, by the way, sound better than explicatives, I would. But I think I ran out right then. So look at an example of deliverance. Let's say that you want to stop addictive drinking. So you go to church and they walk you through the process of breaking off curses, intergenerational curses, and then slam shut all of the doors and windows to your home, that is your body, bind the strong man, and sequester the Holy Spirit as a permanent roommate, and pray for healing from any lasting effects of the drinking. Proverbs 3:33, Exodus 27:21, John 14:15, Proverbs 26:2, Matthew 12:29, John 14:11-21, and James 5:15-16. But then you go to get in your car and there is a six-pack of beer in the passenger seat. You struggle through it but make it home only to find that you have a keg in the refrigerator and a home bar to die for. Not to worry, you throw it all out and turn on some TV and there it is, Animal House is playing. Nope. But so you go for a ride and you pass by a billboard that advertises Jim Beam, and then another with a beach scene and a bottle of Corona sitting on a TV tray. Okay, a rock. So then you finally pull up to the local grocery store only to find out that the Budweiser horses and beer carriages on display in the parking lot. No, you shout under your breath as you finally make it into the grocery store, only to find out that a Napa winery is having a free wine tasting event in the bread aisle. What? Why? Okay, so you get the frustration of trying to stay free. Now and it is not related to this story at all, I was set free from alcohol 2 times in my life. And when I was, I did not struggle with wanting to drink regardless of where I was and who I was around that may have been drinking. Sorry, AA, no plug for you this time. But in many cases, this is not the case. And no, I don't know why me and not others. So you will just have to take your case up with God. Now, case in point, imagine how much more difficult it is to avoid sexual temptation while living on this planet, unless you are doing everything I mentioned in my third message on sex titled Supplemental Sex or It's Not Just Sex. You're in for quite a journey. I would more describe it as a heck of a ride, as it is so disheartening to struggle with something so complex and yet so necessary. Another option would be to go to another planet where sin, death, and the devil does not exist. No, but wait, that would be heaven, and yes, glory be to God, we are getting there. So the short answer, referring to my experience with drinking, is that you can be delivered from any addiction. And you have a role to play in how it turns out, but ultimately it will be God who sets you free. Now this message is not a repeat of the other 3 messages on sex. Nope, this one specifically focuses on access. So we have to know our audience, which is everyone who is saved, single or married. I told you kids I would deal with your age group, and regardless of how you define whatever a kid age group is, it is important to know that there is a specific strategy to turn your kids into sex monsters that have no regard for its value, its place in a healthy marital relationship, or its boundaries. Yep, as a 5-year-old kid, I have experienced the abuse that opens up the door to sexual creepiness, but more importantly, to unhealthy curiosity. This event has led to a lifetime of struggles that even at 60 years old, I'm still trying to manage and get fully free from. But this is not about me, but about showing you, the parents, What is at stake if you do not raise up your kids in the Lord, keeping a close watch on what they see, hear, and say, and play on their cell phones? Yes, even play on their cell phones. And don't believe that your installing parental controls stops the mainline sexual industry from trying to reach out and gain another lifelong consumer. So now again, this message at its core is to wake up any of you silly Sallies that go around with your head in the sand. We as Christians do not hide from the battle, but rush in to meet the threat headlong. If you do not struggle with sexual sin at all, and I mean at all, then intercede that your husband, wife, kids, aunts, uncles, friends, co-workers, other church members, bank tellers, grocery clerks, or anyone else unmentioned in this short list is protected from its clutches. This is the biggest battle raging today's peeps. Tell me one place that sexual anything is not yet pervaded. Never mind the rest of this stuff. Well, for the most part. The battle is near and dear to my heart because I have been in and out of its clutches for over 5 decades. So let's see what access is available for your kids and yourself, if so included, to the world of lust. I don't mean to sound nonchalant about this topic, but in truth it is very eye-opening as to how many areas of life this issue affects. It is like if oil could evaporate and ascend into the clouds, and then the clouds get fat and drop that oil in every location within location of the storm. Now that the oil is in the waterways, it permeates into our crops and homes, lakes and streams, cities and countries. Nothing is untouched by that oil. Well, in a more dramatic fashion, it is the same thing with pornography and everything less than, but still outside of, the realm of a healthy marriage. All social media has wormholes into that world. In every case, I have found that world hidden in ads and bait. Keep this in mind. If you look long enough, you will find it. And so the question is really, what has your 10-year-old really been exposed to online? In games, yes. Even many of the games are designed to turn on the switch. Of all the media sources I have used, they have bait, and because lust is spiritually empowered and is also a natural dimmer switch in everyone's living, it doesn't take much. Data is kept on everyone for the purpose of strategic marketing. Watch enough and all of a sudden, there is more showing up at your door. And the mystery of it is that all the social media platforms must talk to each other at night, because all of the wow stuff starts showing up on your media platforms where you may not have even invited any of that stuff. Please do not think that this is an accident. Your kids have direct exposure to this stuff, and if you don't think it sets them up for all kinds of future failures, then you haven't been listening. Just like many of us, we learned all the wrong stuff being exposed to all the incorrect information about each other and what intimacy is. Oh, the unlearning you have to do after you get married. I will stay away from how women dress these days because, well, every system, including many churches, approve of fitting into the world so that we don't look so prudish. But ask any guy if they don't struggle with the provocative dressing. I know. You have a right to wear anything you want, and after all, you are dressing that way due to insecurity because you actually think it will attract the right guy to you. Remember, this message is for Christians. I don't judge you for the way you dress, but surely you would feel quite uncomfortable if you could hear and see the thoughts and images that are cast aloft into the ears and brains of the men you come in contact with. I don't care who you are. If you can't stand before Jesus and not blush at some of the clothes you wear on this planet, then perhaps you should begin to dress in such a way that you can find a real man whose eyes are focused on your heart and character more than on anything else. And where do we get the notion that either sex would ever approve of us sleeping around before we landed them into our boat? Imagine if you had to hand each other a sexual partner resume, listing all of the people and the things, if you really struggled, that you slept with before getting to them, and that somehow they are different, and so you won't simply add them to the same list. I know, I think it's weird, but really. You see, we sleep around because that is what happens when the dimmer switch and other switch is turned on outside of marriage. Parents, this is why you really need to consider a well-thought-out plan for your kids who are now the main target for massive generational sexual degradation. In other words, if I have any more on the subject, it will be very difficult for them, if now equipped early in life, to resist what is here and what is coming, which is a Sodom and Gomorrah type sexual revolution. In fact, I would venture to say it's already here. Keep in mind, I have seen, well, I suppose I could say what most people these days who really struggle with lust have seen, more or less as irrespective of its negative effects, other than to say, the deeper you go into the rabbit hole, the more difficult it is to return to normal life, whatever that looks like today. Now, but see, I'm not saying here that I have committed all of these weirdo things, just seen more than I would have ever wanted anyone to lay eyes on. And you have to know the destructive power of this stuff. We have kids doing things that they should not, either because they don't know better, they are doing it because mom and dad forces them, or because they think it will make them more likable or popular. I suspect that there are other reasons, but I'm not moving forward to the future they are making for themselves in the errors they commit today. Now, I'm not talking about the pornography industry, the prostitution industry. Nope, I'm talking about those who have not thought through what it may mean to their future to post videos that totally expose them to a struggling nation, to predators. Pre-social media, you could at least take your sack of hidden sins with you to God and explain why you didn't cry for help. But now most everything digital will last until Jesus returns. What if you finally find the someone of your dreams and bam, you're scrolling through your social media together on the couch and an old TikTok video pops up, or a YouTube video. I'm just saying that Jesus will forgive you, but the devil won't. And if there's any chains of using your past in an attempt to kill, steal, or destroy you, he will use it. And use it he will to the fullest. John 10:10. Well, that's it for today. Remember, it's not what you find wrong or disagree with regarding these messages, but what you can take away from it. Together we can do more to impact the kingdom than if we work alone. Let's flip the script and kill, steal, and destroy the works of the enemy and create space for the light of life to shine through into people's lives. Plant a seed and click on the like and subscribe button. Let's build this ministry together. Thanks, and see you next time in Deep Waters.